Richard Rowe, 3 Captain John, Robert Earnshaw, 5 P.T. Sandy, Geordie Dunn, 6 Corbiere, Bender Hahn, 8 Bridge Ash, John Williams, 9 Colonel Christy, John Snaith, 10 Pilot Officer, Sam Morshead, 11 Flagstaff with Hugh Davis putting up 3-pound overweight, 12 PUCKA, Paul Richards, 13 Spring Rocket, Peter Warner. Here's how they're betting on our way to join Richard.
Captain John a firm favourite, 11 to 10. P.T. Sandy is 9 to 4. Royal Judgment 7 to 1. Corbiere on 10 to 1. Pilot Officer, which opened at 12, is now 14 to 1. And on 20 to 1, Bridge Ash, Colonel Christy, the Spring Rocket and Flagstaff. PUCKA is 50 to 1. That's a full show.
Mon Capitaine out of Eperlon Light and trained by the all-conquering Michael Dickinson. 12 winners yesterday. It seems incredible, doesn't it, that one trainer could send out 12 winners, including the big race, the King George. And today he goes for a further prize of £16,321. There he is, a very placid horse, as you can see in the paddock. He's even money favourite from 11 to 10, and it's 5 to 2 by him. Lovely horse, this, formerly owned by Michael Muskos, and his new owner, Farouk Amami, bought him from his previous owner. Number 2 is Royal Judgment, very much fancied, and this was the best laid of all the horses by the sponsors this morning, including £20,000 he's been back to win, that is this morning. Royal Judgment, and he carries top weight of 12 stone. He certainly attracts a lot of weight, this horse, although I suppose he's really a model of consistency, and he's going to always have a lot of weight. He's a very good horse. He's won £38,000 in first prize money, and receiving just £6 from Silver Buck at Haydock Park, he got within 10 lengths of the Gold Cup winner there. So that is quite a good show. There is Josh Gifford, his trainer. Josh, who won this race as a jockey, well, way back, that was in 1962 on 40 Secrets, who was trained by Earl Jones. And you can see Royal Judgment in very good form there, really raring to go. If you back this one, I think you'll get a run for your money. As the jockeys continue to mount, we have a full show betting for you.
Well, there's some interest in Royal Judgment. It opened at 8, is now 13 to 2. Captain John, though, is the even money favourite. P.T. Sandy 5 to 2. Royal Judgment 13 to 2. Corbiere 12s. Pilot Officer 14 to 1. On 25 to 1, Bridge Ash, Colonel Christy, Spring Rocket and Flagstaff, and PUCKA still the 50 to 1 outsider. Now results.
Chepstow the 110. First number 8, Bois Rouge 7 to 1. Second number 2, Fitzherbert 13 to 8 favourite. Third number 30, Celtic Beauty 33 to 1. Kempton 115. First number 8, Park Rainbow 100 to 30. Second number 10, Sundial 15 to 8 favourite. Third number 11, Double Florin 12 to 1. Wolverhampton 115. First number 9, Tom Farr 9 to 4 favourite. Second number 1, Cathy's Courtier 3 to 1. Third number 5, Button Boy 13 to 2. At Taunton 1 o'clock, first number 10, Hit the Road 2 to 1 favourite. Second number 13, Schubert 7 to 2. Third number 3, Carflex 7 to 2. And 1:30 at Taunton, first number 9, Royal Friend 4 to 1. Second number 10, Glissando 2 to 1 favourite. Third number 7, Regent's Garden 8 to 1.
So most of the runners, in fact, on that long walk from the paddock to the racecourse itself, and Captain John is now 5 to 4 on from evens. And in fact, there's a bit of heavy betting here because also Royal Judgment coming in quite a bit. So the punters going in deep into their pockets today, probably still got some ammunition left after yesterday. And a terrific crowd here. You can see the car park in the background. Well, that's some indication of the punters here today. P.T. Sandy, well, wouldn't you be proud if you owned that? That is the epitome of a steeplechaser and the winner of this race last year. He is a marvellous horse. He defied the elements last year to make the 750-mile round trip from Innerleithen in Peebleshire for this contest, and duly won it. You can see it wasn't such a good day, but P.T. Sandy coming home clear from Royal Roost, the mare. Prince Rock back in third place. He, like Captain John, is a superb jumper, but it was heavier conditions last year when he won. Prince Rock, the course specialist, a long way back in third. He really got the race well sewn up, and how Helen Hamilton must have been cheering now, having made that awful trip through the snow. Really gives the last a great bit of daylight. Royal Roost, the mare, trained in Worcestershire by Jeff Yardley. Peck 6 at the last, but there's no holding P.T. Sandy. He really does stay forever. Certainly looks well. He's 5-2 second favourite. He came down the day after Christmas Day all the way from Peebleshire. He and Miss Helen Hamilton and the assistant trainer, Mrs. Nyberg, they made that long trip, but this is a lovely horse. He does stay forever. He'd have wanted it slightly softer, I think, just to blunt the speed of Captain John. But don't underestimate this horse. He is a very good horse indeed. He did in... Number 10 going down there is Pilot Officer, undoubtedly the best of those running from below their or above their handicap weight. Bridge Ash and below were all weighted in the long handicap below 10 stone, but have to carry the minimum weight of 10 stone. Pilot Officer was originally handicapped at 9 stone 9. He's owned by Rodney Padmore, who is an inhabitant of the Isle of Man, but he's here today. I've seen him in the paddock, and his horse certainly looks very well. He's trained by Mercy Rymel, whose late husband won this race no less than 4 times, with Rag Trade in 76, French Excuse in 70, and Glenn in 68, and way back in 57 with Criolla the second. All 4 ridden by different jockeys, so I wonder, will Mercy Rymel continue that marvellous run set up by her husband. Colonel Christie coming up to look at the first fence. Well, in fact, it will be the last fence. They have to jump it no end of times. There's a long, long haul here. Colonel Christie, ridden by John Snaith. Well, he is already the winner of a Grand National in the Brook Bond Oxo Grand National at Warwick, and that was over 4 miles. He's the second horse from the right as we look at them, the first horse on the right now, and a real doer stayer, but he certainly lacks a little bit of speed, and I think that today the ground will be just too fast for him. Just going behind P.T. Sandy now, but he certainly looks very well. I don't personally fancy him, but he's a very good stayer. Number 13 is Spring Rocket. This is a mare by Harwell out of May Foliage, trained by John Edwards at Ross-on-Wye. John, who gets a good share of winners every year. Peter Warner, who is attached to his stable, as is Niall Madden. Niall is the stable jockey, but Peter Warner is also attached to the stable riding this one. She really revels in heavy ground. She ploughed through the mud last time out at Newton Abbot for a fine victory there, but I don't think it'll be soft enough for her today. Good staying mare, genuine, runs an odd bad race, but then mares often do, especially chestnut ones, although that's something I don't entirely believe in. People do go off chestnut mares, but there seem to be an awful lot of them winning races these days. Anyway, Spring Rocket, number 13, an 8-year-old carrying 10 stone. Corbiere, handsome horse this one. He's ridden by Ben DeHaan. Ben having a fairly quiet season so far. He's only had 3 winners, riding for Jenny Pittman, who's on the 4-winner mark. Well, this horse really does love bottomless conditions, or is supposed to, but having looked up his record, 4 of his 6 races that he's won have been on good ground, although when he was second to Leslie Ann in the Sun Alliance, that's the Champion Novice Chase at Cheltenham Festival a couple of years ago, it was bottomless. Stays forever, this one, jumps really well, but gives himself a hard race because he always seems to be just on the bridle. We have a full show of betting for you now.
And the betting on Corbiere doesn't show much enthusiasm. Opened at 10s, is now 13-1, so it's drifting. Captain John, 11-10 on. P.T. Sandy, 9-4 again. A Royal Judgment, 13-2. Pilot Officer, 12s. Corbiere, 13-1. Flagstaff, 25-1. And Colonel Christie has gone out to 28-1. On 33-1, Spring Rocket and Bridge Ash. And PUCKA stays on 50-1.
And there's where your money's going if you're backing the outside of the 50-1 shot. PUCKA, Paul Richards in the saddle, and this is a really nice sort of horse, genuine, jumps for fun. He's just the sort of horse that I think Prince Charles would have enjoyed riding this. He really does pick up nicely at his fences, and let's hope it's not too late for the Prince to come back racing again, because we certainly enjoyed it when he was racing. Well, PUCKA, owned and trained by Diana Tucker, and she trains at Burnham-on-Sea. There's Bill Rees, the starter's assistant. Bill, who was himself former royal jockey, riding many, many winners for Majesty the Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother. Well, PUCKA looking well, as in fact they all do today. There's Royal Judgment. Royal Judgment, the top weight with 12 stone in the pink colours there of Lady Roots, and Royal Judgment is 11-2, third favourite from 13-2, and there have been fortunes for this horse. But it looks as if they're coming under orders. Let's join Peter.
And the start-up calling them back.
All right, come on.
And now sending them off. And they're away with CORBIERE from Flagstaff and PUCKA as they run down this sharp incline towards the left-hand bend that'll take them up the hill towards the first of the 22 fences. And Captain John, certainly one of the shortest prize favourites in Welsh Grand National history, if not the shortest. Only 6 favourites have won in the 30 post-war runnings before today. The average odds of the winner, incidentally, 8.5 to 1. And PUCKA taking him along from Flagstaff, whose lad, David Rossiter, has won the prize for the best turned-out horse, given by the sponsors. Colonel Christie's up there on the outside with CORBIERE, then Bridge Ash and Pilot Officer and P.T. Sandy, then Captain John, then comes Spring Rocket and Royal Judgment at the first. And all safely over it and racing towards the first of the ditches now. PUCKA on the outside of Flagstaff, then Bridge Ash and CORBIERE. Then Captain John, who jumps right up on the outside to almost join PUCKA there, but Robert Earnshaw restraining him at this point, although he jumps that very fast and neatly and pretty well jumps himself into the lead, in fact, right over on the far left. But although PUCKA taking it up again. PUCKA from Flagstaff nearest to us, between horses CORBIERE, then Captain John on the outside, Bridge Ash on the near side, Pilot Officer, Colonel Christie, P.T. Sandy, Spring Rocket and Royal Judgment. As they come to the 5th, PUCKA Flagstaff, Captain John on the outside, Spring Rocket just a little bit slow at that one. The 6th comes very close. PUCKA, Flagstaff, CORBIERE, Captain John, Bridge Ash on the inner. And a long run now to this left-hand swing towards the straight. And when they reach it, they'll face up to fence number 7. PUCKA, just the leader, closely grouped in behind him. Flagstaff, CORBIERE, Bridge Ash, and Pilot Officer Colonel Christie. Captain John has been dropped back behind Colonel Christie. Then comes Spring Rocket, P.T. Sandy and Royal Judgment. Coming to the first in the straight on the first circuit now. Number 7. PUCKA, Flagstaff and Bridge Ash. From CORBIERE in 4th, and close behind them, Colonel Christie, Pilot Officer. This is the 2nd of the ditches. PUCKA lands in the lead from Flagstaff and CORBIERE. Slight mistake by CORBIERE there. Captain John towards the far left of the picture as they come to the 9th. PUCKA, Flagstaff, Bridge Ash, CORBIERE, Captain John, Pilot Officer Colonel Christie, Royal Judgment, P.T. Sandy. This will be the second last next time. Number 10, PUCKA. Captain John on the near side, between horses CORBIERE, over on the far side Flagstaff, then Pilot Officer, then Bridge Ash, and Spring Rocket and P.T. Sandy. Little peck there by the favourite, just nodded over that one, Captain John. So as they pass the winning post with another complete circuit, very tightly grouped, CORBIERE, PUCKA and Flagstaff. From Colonel Christie, Pilot Officer, Spring Rocket, P.T. Sandy, Captain John, Bridge Ash and Royal Judgment. All 10 still standing and going well within themselves at this stage with another complete circuit in this 3 miles, 6 furlongs, Coral Welsh National. Swing left-handed once again. PUCKA from Flagstaff. Then Pilot Officer and CORBIERE, then Bridge Ash and P.T. Sandy going up on the outside of Colonel Christie, then Spring Rocket. One from last is Captain John, and last is Royal Judgment. Still quite a long run to fence number 12. Another plain one before the next ditch. PUCKA in the lead from Flagstaff, Corbiere, pilot officer, Colonel Christie and P.T. Sandy, Captain John on the outside. A little bit slow Royal Judgment there. Bridge Ash has dropped back to last. PUCKA as they come to the third ditch. Captain John lands in the lead there. He made very swift progress between those two fences. It's Captain John with P.T. Sandy close behind him as they jump the 14th. Captain John from P.T. Sandy, PUCKA. Colonel Christie's a faller there. The Colonel is gone. He's up on his feet all right. John Snaith just getting to his feet. Colonel Christie looks all right himself. Coming to the water now. Captain John lands in the lead from P.T. Sandy and PUCKA, and then comes Flagstaff, then Pilot Officer and Corbiere close, then Spring Rocket and Royal Judgment, and finally Bridge Ash as they race towards the 16th. Captain John from P.T. Sandy, last year's winner. Captain John lands in the lead from P.T. Sandy second, PUCKA third, 4 Pilot Officer getting a bit close with them. Then comes Corbiere and Flagstaff, and then Spring Rocket, and then comes Royal Judgment. The long way back is Bridge Ash, and this is 6 from home. Captain John lands in the lead from P.T. Sandy, PUCKA on the inside, Pilot Officer, then Corbiere, Royal Judgment making some progress on the inside, Flagstaff still well in touch, and tow Spring Rocket, but Bridge Ash is virtually out of it as they swing left-handed now out of the back stretch towards the home turn. Captain John, PUCKA, P.T. Sandy. Very little between the three now. Pilot Officer coming there very strongly just in behind them. Corbiere is next, and still a wide open race. Captain John on the inside of last year's winner P.T. Sandy, and Sam Morshead bidding for a double here this afternoon on Pilot Officer very close behind him. Corbiere is 4th, 5 and 6 are PUCKA and Flagstaff, 7 is Royal Judgment, and they're coming down now towards the 5th from home. Captain John from last year's winner P.T. Sandy and Pilot Officer as they come to the 5th out, and P.T. Sandy possibly the fractional leader there from Captain John over on the far side under pressure. This is the final ditch now. Pilot Officer nearest to us going very strongly, 4 from home. Pilot Officer landed in the lead there from Captain John. They're coming down now towards the 3rd last. Pilot Officer on the near side, Captain John on the far side, P.T. Sandy between horses, very close between these 3. Pilot Officer lands in the lead from Captain John and P.T. Sandy, then comes Corbiere, and it's Pilot Officer and Sam Morshead with a clear advantage now over the 2nd last. Pilot Officer lands in the lead, Corbiere 2nd, racing down to the final fence now, and is Mercy Rymel going to train the winner of the race that her husband trained 4 times. Pilot Officer being pressed now by Corbiere as they come to the last. Pilot Officer lands in the lead, Corbiere 2nd, and Corbiere putting in a great run on the near side. It's Pilot Officer on the far side, Corbiere on the near side, Corbiere going away now from Pilot Officer as they race up towards the line. It's Corbiere from Pilot Officer. Pilot Officer's fighting back as they come to the line. It's a photo finish between Corbiere and Pilot Officer. Corbiere on the near side, Pilot Officer on the far side. For me, Corbiere was possibly just one. P.T. Sandy was 3rd. Then came Captain John, Spring Rocket behind them, Flagstaff, then Royal Judgment, and then PUCKA, and then Bridge Ash. It's a photo finish at the end of the Coral Welsh National between number 6, Corbiere on the near side, and number 10, Pilot Officer on the far side. Number 6, Corbiere, owned by Mr. B.R.H. Burrough, trained by Mrs. Jenny Pittman, ridden by Ben DeHaan, and number 10, Pilot Officer, owned by Mr. Rodney Padmore, trained by Mrs. Mercy Rymel, and ridden by Sam Morshead. 3rd was last year's winner, number 5, P.T. Sandy. A very close finish indeed between these two, and very close indeed for 4th as well. But of course, the outcome of this very close official photo to the 31st post-war running of the Coral-sponsored Welsh National between number 6, Corbiere, and number 10, Pilot Officer. The only certainty at the moment is that a lady trainer has been responsible for the winner of the Coral Welsh National for the 2nd year in succession. Miss Helen Hamilton, having won it with P.T. Sandy last year, and now it's between Jenny Pittman trained Corbiere and Mercy Rymel trained Pilot Officer. And of course it's CORBIERE nearest to us. Pilot officer on the far side. And the judge still hasn't called it. CORBIERE running for the 6th time this season, having run a very good race until 3 from home in the Hennessy Cognac Gold Cup. And pilot officer also running for the 6th time this season. Very close betting on the outcome of this photo. With CORBIERE the favourite to get the verdict. And here it comes. First, number 6, CORBIERE. Second, number 10, pilot officer. Third, number 5, Peter Sandy. And fourth, number 3, Captain John. So, once again, the full official result of the 1982 Coral Welsh National. First, number 6, CORBIERE, owned by Mr. B.R.H. Burrough, trained by Mrs. Jenny Pittman, ridden by Bender Hahn.